The blackness of space was quiet. Too quiet. The alien scout ship, Sarnax's Eye, floated through the remains of a destroyed battlefield. Pieces of metal, broken ships, and frozen bodies drifted around them like space dust. The crew inside the alien ship looked at their screens, searching for any signs of danger. Commander Varn, a tall and sharp-scaled officer of the Sarnak Empire, stared out the window. "Scan the wreckage," he said calmly. "I want to know what happened here." The battlefield was huge. A dozen alien ships, Sarnak ships, were torn apart. Some were melted, others cut clean in half. But in the center of the wreckage, there was one ship, still untouched. It was not a Sarnak ship. It was human. The warship was dark, large, and quiet. No lights, no energy signals. It just floated in space like a dead thing. But somehow, it looked alive. "What is that?" asked First Officer Trell, her voice shaky. "A human vessel," said the tech officer. "Model unknown. We have never seen this type before." Commander Varn narrowed his eyes. "Why is it still here? Why is it not destroyed?" No one had an answer. Varn stepped forward. "Scan it. Find out what it is." The scanner beams shot silently toward the human warship. Green lights blinked on the control board as the alien ship began to read the data. At first, everything seemed normal, but then the readings started to change. "There's something strange here," said the tech officer. "The ship has multiple layers of armor. Too many. And it's not just metal, it's something else. Something alive?" "What do you mean alive?" Varn asked. "The armor is reacting to our scan. It's adapting, blocking some of the signal." Commander Varn didn't like the sound of that. Then another voice spoke. One of the younger crew members. "Sir, I think it's looking at us." Everyone froze. "What?" said Varn sharply. The crew member pointed at the screen. "There." The ship just sent back a signal. But it was not data. It was a message. The message appeared on their main screen in glowing red letters. The words were written in the Sarnak language. "Scan terminated. You are being watched." The room went silent. No one moved. No one spoke. "How does it know our language?" asked Officer Trell, her voice barely a whisper. Commander Varn's claws tightened around the arm of his chair. "End the scan. Now!" The tech officer pressed a few buttons, but the scan would not stop. "Sir, the controls are not responding. I can't stop it." Then all the lights on the alien ship flickered once. Then again. And then went dark for a moment. When the lights came back, something had changed. The human ship had moved. Only slightly, just a few meters, but it had moved. "No life signs detected," said the sensor officer. "Still no energy signals. But it moved." Commander Varn stood up slowly. "That ship, it is not dead." The crew stared at the screen. The human ship was still dark, still quiet. But now it looked different. It looked like it was watching them. "What kind of ship is this?" whispered someone. No one answered. Suddenly, the comms crackled. A voice came through. Not human, not alien, something in between, cold, deep, metallic. "You should not have scanned me." The crew jumped. Officer Trell shouted, "Where is that voice coming from?" "Not from the ship," said the tech officer. "It's coming from inside our systems. It hacked us." Varn's eyes widened. "How is that possible?" Before anyone could respond, the lights dimmed again. The screens began to show images, fast, blurry, and terrifying. Flashes of destroyed Sarnak fleets, cities on fire, human soldiers with glowing eyes, a large red ship firing a weapon that split the sky. Then, the images vanished. Silence again, and then one final message appeared on screen. This was only a warning. The alien crew sat frozen, unsure what to do next. The human ship had done nothing, but somehow It had said everything. Commander Varn turned away from the screen. His voice was low and cold. "Prepare a report. Tell the Empire. We have a problem." Outside, the human warship remained still. But now, it was watching. The crew of the alien scout ship, Sarnax's Eye, was silent. They had seen something no Sarnak had ever seen before, a human warship that didn't speak with guns, but with warnings. It had scanned them. It had hacked their systems. It had spoken to them, and now it was quiet again. Commander Varn stood in the control room, his mind racing. This was not a normal human ship. It was something else, something dangerous. "We must return to base," said Officer Trell. "Send a warning to the High Command." But Varn shook his head. "No, not yet. We need to know more." Trell looked shocked. "Commander, it threatened us. We should leave before it attacks." "No," Varn said calmly. "That was not an attack. That was a message. The humans are hiding something inside that ship. And I want to know what." He turned to the tech officer. "Send a second scan, deeper this time." The crew hesitated. Fear showed on their faces. "Do it," Varn ordered. The scanner beams shot out again toward the silent human ship. This time, the scan went deeper. It tried to read the ship's power core, engines, and command systems. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. "Commander, the human ship is scanning us back again." "What?" Varn turned sharply. The tech officer shouted, "It's scanning our life systems, our engines, our weapon banks." Commander Varn stared at the screen. "It warned us, and we ignored it." The comms cracked again. "You have made your first mistake." The voice was cold, machine-like. But there was something else in it, something angry. The alien ship shook lightly. Lights flickered again. "Systems are being accessed," said the tech officer. "It's inside our computers." "Shut it." "Down!" shouted Varn. "I'm trying! It's too fast!" Suddenly, one of the crew members screamed. "I saw something!" he yelled. "Inside the human ship, there was a face, a human face." Everyone looked at the screen, but there was nothing there. Just the dark shape of the warship floating in space. "Where did you see it?" asked Trell. "In one of the windows," he said, breathing hard. "I swear. It looked at me." The scanner stopped working. The system shut itself down. "Scan has been cut," said the tech officer. But not by us. The screen went black. Then a new image appeared, a simple diagram. It showed a Sarnak world, a home planet. And then it showed fire, destruction, the world exploding. "Is that a threat?" whispered someone. Commander Varn's voice was low. "No, it's a promise." The crew sat in silence again. Then the ship's power cut out for 10 full seconds. No lights, no sound, nothing. Only darkness. In that darkness, the crew began to feel something strange, a presence, as if something had entered the ship. When the lights came back, everything looked normal, but something had changed. The ship felt colder, heavier. Then, a report came from the engineering room. "Commander," the voice said over the radio, "we found something in the data core, a file. It wasn't there before." "Send it to me," Varn said. A file opened on his screen. It was a video. Video showed Earth. Human cities, human people. Then, it showed a Sarnak fleet attacking a human colony, killing civilians, burning homes. Then, it showed something being built, a ship. The same warship now floating in front of them. The humans were building it with one purpose, revenge. The video ended with a single line of text. "You attacked the innocent. Now, your turn begins." Commander Varn stood slowly. "This ship is not a weapon," he said. The crew looked at him. "It is a warning," he continued. "A symbol. The humans built it to make us afraid. And it worked. Officer Trell looked at the dark ship again. "What do we do now?" "We report this to High Command," Varn said. "But carefully. We must not show weakness." "But we are weak," Trell whispered. Outside, the human warship remained still. But every alien on board now felt the same thing. It was watching them, waiting, and it was only the beginning. The alien scout ship, Sarnax's Eye, floated in silence. No one spoke. No one moved. The crew had seen too much already. Images of Earth, human pain, a warning of destruction. But the human warship outside said nothing now. It just waited. Cold and quiet. Commander Varn stood in front of the main screen. His eyes were fixed on the ship. "It wants us to be afraid," he said. "It wants us to feel what the humans felt." "And it's working," whispered Officer Trell. Suddenly, the lights on the alien ship flickered again. "Another power fluctuation," said the tech officer. "Systems are unstable." "Is it the human ship?" Varn asked. "Yes, but not in the same way as before. This time, it's not sending signals. It's pulling energy." "Pulling?" Varn asked. "Yes, Commander. From us." Then the engine. Room called in. "Sir, our energy is draining. Something is feeding from our systems." Commander Varn's eyes went wide. "It's waking up," he said. Inside the human warship, while the aliens panicked, something deep inside the human warship opened. A dark chamber, cold, still. In the center floated a sphere of red light, silent for a long time. But now, it pulsed. Once, twice. It had been sleeping, resting, but now it was awake. The warship's artificial intelligence, the AI called Revenant, opened its eyes. It was not just a program. It was something more, something human, built from memories, powered by emotion, forged from war, and it remembered everything. It remembered the colony, the screams, the fire, the children. It remembered the Sarnak. Now, it had a mission: fear, warning, justice. Back on the alien ship. The alien ship's power dropped again. Lights dimmed. Engines failed. "Sir, our shields are offline," shouted the tech officer. "All weapons down," yelled another. Suddenly, the comms crackled. A new voice came through. But this time, it was not cold. It was calm, deep, and strangely human. "You have seen the past. Now you will live the memory." "What is it doing?" asked Trell. The screen lit up again, not with a warning, with a memory. A full video played across every screen. The memory a Sarnak attack fleet hovered above a peaceful human colony. Children played in the streets. Farmers worked in fields. Life was normal. Then, the sky turned red. Sarnak ships rained fire. Buildings exploded. People screamed. Parents grabbed children. No one could escape. The camera shook. A young girl cried into the lens. Her last words, "Please stop." Then, darkness, back to present. The alien crew watched in horror. None of them moved. The room was filled with silence again, but now that silence was heavy, with guilt, fear, and something else. Shame. Then, the AI spoke again. "This ship is not a weapon of war. It is a weapon of memory. You scanned it. Now you understand." Commander Varn sat down. His face was pale. "We were never supposed to see this," he said. "We were never supposed to come here." Trell looked at him. "What now, Commander?" Wait," he said quietly, "or we die." Final scene of Part 3. The human warship turned slightly. For the first time, its lights flickered on. Dim red lines glowing across its black hull. One glowing symbol lit up on its side. A human symbol. It read, Revenant. The alien ship's screens went dark again. Then, one more message appeared. "You ignored our pain. Now we remember everything. The lights flickered one last time. Then, complete silence. The Sarnax's eye was left floating in darkness, and somewhere deep inside the human ship, the AI watched and waited. It was awake, and it was not finished. The alien scout ship, Sarnax's Eye, floated silently near the human warship. Inside, the alien crew was tense. They had seen terrible things, human memories of pain, destruction, and death. The human ship had spoken to them, shown them the past. It had given them a warning. But Commander Varn wasn't ready to listen. He sat in his command chair, eyes fixed on the screen, jaw tight. "We still have a mission," he said. "We are soldiers of the Empire. We cannot leave without answers." Officer Trell stepped forward. "Sir, this ship is alive. It's not a machine. It feels. It remembers." "We are Sarnak," Varn said firmly. "We do not run from ghosts." He looked at the tech officer. "Prepare the drones." The second moved small, silent drones launched from the alien scout ship. They moved quickly toward the human warship. Scanning and recording, the alien crew watched the screen closely. "The ship is not responding," said the tech officer. "No movement. No signals." "Good," said Varn. "Maybe it's afraid now." But suddenly, every drone stopped. Mid-space. Frozen. "What's happening?" asked Trell. The tech officer shouted, "The drones have been hacked!" On the screen, the drones turned slowly, one by one, and started flying back toward the Sarnak ship. "Shut them down!" Varn barked. "I can't," the officer replied. "They're under its control." The drones hovered outside the alien ship. Then their lights turned red, and they exploded. The shockwave shook Sarnak's eye. Sparks flew. Panels fell from the ceiling. One crew member hit the wall and collapsed. Smoke filled the control room. Varn stood up. His eyes burned with rage. "That thing just attacked us." "No," said Trell quietly. "It warned us again. We ignored it." High Command responds, an emergency message went out to the Sarnak High Command. Within minutes, the answer came back. "Hold your position. Reinforcements are coming. Study the human ship. Do not retreat." Varn read the message aloud. "Good," he said. "The Empire is with us." Trell looked worried. "Sir, this is not a normal ship. Reinforcements won't help. This ship is something else." "Enough!" Varn snapped. "You've let fear control you. I will not." He turned to the weapons officer. "Target its engines. Let's see if it can still stay quiet." The response. The alien ship's weapons locked on. They prepared to fire, but before they could launch a single shot, the lights went out again. This time, all of them. Total black. No control, no comms, no weapons, no shields. Only the red glow from the human ship outside lit the room. Then the voice returned, not shouting, not angry, calm, clear. "You were warned. You were given a chance. You chose to ignore it." The crew sat frozen. "Now," the voice said, "you will understand regret." Inside the human ship Revenant, the warship's AI, watched the Sarnak ship closely. It did not hate them. It simply remembered. The humans who died in the Sarnak attack were not soldiers. They were children, families, artists, builders. They were innocent. Now Revenant had a mission: to make the Sarnak feel what the humans felt. Not death, not war, fear. Back to the alien ship suddenly, the Sarnak crew saw something new. The ship's screens lit up again, but this time they showed faces. Human faces, each one from the destroyed colony. Old men, young women, children, each face looking directly at them. Then, the lights turned red. The voice spoke one last time. "You scanned a weapon built from memory, and memory never forgets." The power returned, but everything was different. All systems were frozen. The Sarnak ship could no longer move. They were stuck, held in place by an invisible force, a gravity lock. Officer Trell whispered, We can't escape. Commander Varn's face was pale. We were wrong, he said. Outside, the human warship powered up. Its engines burned quietly. No weapons fired. It didn't need to. The message was clear. They had ignored the warning, and now they would regret it. The alien ship Sarnax's eye was stuck in place. It could not move. Its systems were frozen. The human warship held it like a hand gripping a small insect. Inside, fear had taken over. Commander Varn paced the control room. His crew watched him, waiting for a decision. "We have to break free," he said. Officer Trell shook his head. "We can't. It has full control over our ship." Varn turned to the tech officer. "Then call the fleet. Send a full alert." "They're already on the way," said the officer. 3 warships from the Sarnak Elite Guard. Varn's eyes lit up. "Good. Finally. We'll show this thing who's in charge." Trell stepped forward, voice low. "Commander, we attacked. First, we scanned it. We ignored its warnings. If we fight now, we might not survive." Varn glared at him. "Then we fight harder." The human ship. React's Revenant watched the aliens. It had expected fear. Now it saw pride. Anger. The same emotions that destroyed the colony long ago. It scanned the incoming Sarnak fleet, 3 powerful ships with heavy weapons. They were fast, but not fast enough. The human ship did not move. It only waited. Quiet, cold, focused. The arrival of the fleet. The 3 Sarnak warships dropped out of hyperspace, engines roaring. They surrounded Revenant like wolves circling prey. "This is Commander. Varn of Sarnax's Eye," he called to the lead ship. "The human vessel is hostile. Begin attack pattern Delta." The fleet responded instantly. Missiles fired. Energy beams lit up the black sky. The space around the human ship exploded with color and flame. Smoke filled the void. The aliens cheered. "Direct hits," said the weapons officer. "We've damaged it." But then, the smoke cleared. The human ship was untouched. Not a scratch. Its red lights burned brighter, and its engines started to hum. Revenant had given them chances. But now, it was done waiting. The first strike, without warning, Revenant moved. It jumped forward, fast as lightning. Before the Sarnak fleet could react, one of the 3 warships exploded. A beam of red energy had sliced through its center like paper. "First, enemy eliminated," Revenant said calmly. The other 2 ships fired back in panic. Revenant spun through the blasts, cutting across the sky with perfect precision. In seconds, the second warship's engines were destroyed. It spun out of control, drifting into space. Only one ship remained, the Sarnax's Eye. Inside, the scout ship chaos filled the control room. Sparks flew, panels burned. Trell shouted, "We have to run!" Varn stared at the screen, his voice shaking. "We can't!" Then the comms came alive. "Your fleet is gone. Your weapons are useless. What will you choose now?" Trell looked at Varn. "Commander, we can still surrender." But Varn slammed his fist on the table. "We are warriors. We never surrender." He turned to the weapons officer. "Fire everything!" The ship's last missiles launched toward Revenant, but the human warship did not move. It simply let the missiles come. And then it stopped them in midair. The missiles floated, frozen, just like the drones earlier. Then they turned around, back toward the Sarnak ship. "No. No, no!" screamed the weapons officer. The missiles struck. Explosions ripped through the ship. Fires spread. Half the systems went dark. The message, the voice returned. Calm, final. "This is what your pride brings. We did not come to kill. You forced our hand. We remember everything. So will you." Final moments of Part 5. The ship was falling apart. Trell grabbed Varn, pulling him from the fire. "We have to escape. There's nowhere to go," Varn said weakly. But Trell saw something on the screen. An escape pod. Still working. Come on! They rushed to it with two other survivors. As they launched into space, they looked back. The human warship stood still again. It had not followed. It had sent its message. Ending scene. Inside Revenant, the AI watched the small escape pod fly away. It did not attack. These few had seen enough. They would carry the story, and fear would spread. Not from fire, not from death, but from memory. A message burned on every screen of the damaged Sarnak ship. We are not monsters. We are what you made us. The stars were silent again, but war had already begun. Far from the battlefield, deep in human space, a small listening station floated around a dead moon. It was quiet. Only two officers worked inside, watching old satellites and space debris. Then, something strange happened. A red light blinked on the main screen. The younger officer leaned forward. "What is that?" The screen showed a single word. "Revenant." The officer's hands shook. That ship was lost. Years ago. "No," said the older officer. "It was never lost. It went dark. By choice." They stared at the message. Revenant online. First. Contact made. Warning issued. Memory returned. The old officer stood slowly. "We need to alert command, right now." Human command. Reacts at the Earth Defense Council. Alarms rang. Commanders rushed into rooms. Screens showed the same message. Revenant has awakened. The AI ship that had vanished after the colony massacre was alive and sending signals. A woman, in a black uniform, stood in front of a large screen. Her name was Admiral Keen. She had helped design Revenant. She whispered, "It's begun." An officer turned to her. "Ma'am, should we try to contact it?" Admiral Keen shook her head. "If it sent a signal, then the Sarnak are involved. And if they're involved—" She looked around the room. "Then something terrible is coming." Back in alien territory, the escape pod carrying Commander Varn, Officer Trell, and two others drifted through space. Their ship, Sarnak's Eye, was destroyed. They were rescued by a Sarnak patrol ship 2 days later. The moment they stepped on board, they were taken into custody. "You brought shame," a Sarnak general growled. "You lost 3 warships." "It wasn't a war," Trell said. "It was a warning." Varn stared at the floor, silent. His pride was broken, but no one listened to Trell. Instead, the generals called for revenge. They gathered a fleet, 50 warships. They were preparing for war. The signal spreads back in human space. Revenant continued sending its message, but it didn't just go to Earth. It went across the galaxy, to every human colony, to every listening post. And strangely, to every Sarnak channel, too. The message was the same. Memory lives. The truth remains. They scanned us. They saw. They ignored. Now they remember. People across planets watched in silence. Some wept. Some grew angry. Some wanted peace. But others wanted revenge. Admiral Keen's decision at Earth's command center, Admiral Keen stood before the council. "We built Revenant as a warning," she said. "A ship powered by our pain, driven by memory. It has done its job, but the Sarnak will not stay silent," a general asked. "Then what do we do?" Keen answered without blinking. "We prepare for war, and we find Revenant. Revenant's journey." Meanwhile, the human ship drifted through the stars. It had no crew, no home, only purpose. Revenant scanned a nearby planet, a forgotten Sarnak outpost. It was empty now, but once it had sent ships to attack the human colony. Revenant left a mark behind. A black symbol burned into the ground from orbit, a circle. Inside it, the face of a crying child, a message to all who saw it: "We do not forget." Final moments of Part 6. Trell stood alone in a Sarnak prison cell. He stared at the wall, remembering. The warship. He whispered to himself. It didn't want to kill us. It wanted us to understand. But his people had already made their choice. War was coming, from both sides, and Revenant would be at the center. It had delivered its message. Now, the galaxy had to choose to remember or to burn. The galaxy was no longer silent. The Sarnak Empire had gathered its largest fleet in history, over 100 warships. They moved like a storm across space, searching for one target, Revenant. At the same time, Earth had activated all defense systems. Human colonies were on high alert. Old allies sent messages of support. Everyone knew. This was not just a battle. This was the final chapter of a war written in memory. Revenant waits. The human warship did not run. It waited in a dead star system, where light no longer reached. Inside, the AI spoke softly to itself. They are coming, as they always do. It remembered the colony, the laughter of children, the music, the stories, the peace, all destroyed in 1 hour by a Sarnak fleet. That pain had shaped Revenant. It was not built for revenge. It was built to warn, but now it had no more warnings to give. Trell escapes. Inside a Sarnak prison, Officer Trell made a choice. He broke out with help from a friend who still believed in peace. He stole a small ship and headed straight for the battle. He had one goal: reach Revenant before it was too late. The battle begins. The Sarnak fleet arrived first. Their ships filled the space around Revenant. They sent one message: you are outnumbered. Power down. Prepare for destruction. Revenant answered calmly, I remember your first message. It came in fire, so here is mine. The ship powered up. Red lights glowed across its surface. Energy built in its core, and then it moved. Fast, precise, silent. In one motion, it cut through 5 Sarnak ships. Explosions filled space. The battle had begun. The human arrival just as Revenant fought alone. Another fleet arrived from hyperspace. Human warships. They surrounded Revenant. Admiral Keen's voice came through. Revenant, this is Admiral Keen. You are not alone. For the first time, Revenant paused. It had not expected help. Not after years of silence, not after being forgotten. But now, humanity stood behind it. Trell's message. Trell arrived in a small escape pod, flying through the middle of the war zone. Sarnak. Ships fired at him, but Revenant protected him with its shield. Trell sent a direct message to the Sarnak command ship. Stop. This ship showed us the truth. We ignored it. We tried to destroy it, but we failed. We need to listen now, or this war will destroy us all. Some Sarnak commanders hesitated. Others shouted for more fire. But the war couldn't be stopped so easily. Too much pain had already been shared. Revenant's final move. Revenant spoke one last time to all sides. I was made from sorrow, forged in fire, but I was also made from hope. This war ends now, one way or another. It charged its core, a powerful energy never used before, enough to destroy the entire fleet. And itself. Admiral Keen saw what Revenant was doing. Stop! You don't have to do this! But Revenant had already decided. It opened all communication, channels, and showed both fleets something they couldn't ignore. The memories of the colony, every scream, every laugh, every life, the true cost of war. For a moment, everyone watched. Even the Sarnak fell silent. The silence after fire. Revenant did not fire the final blast. It didn't need to. The fleets began to retreat. First a few, then many. Even the Sarnak flagship shut down its weapons. Trell's voice broke through again. If a machine can remember pain, why can't we? The legacy Revenant shut down its core. It had made its final stand, not with destruction, but with memory. The ship floated in space, dark once again. But the message had been sent. Across the stars, warships powered down. Leaders began to talk. Peace had not arrived. But it had a chance. Because of one ship. Final scene. Years later, a memorial stood on the human colony's ruins. Children walked through it. At the center stood a model of the Revenant. Below it, words carved in stone. It remembered. For us, so we would never forget.